and what I'm going to do is get it up on its feet. I'm going to ask you people to help me. So when I come grab you and pull you up here, please don't be afraid of it. It's very simple. I will tell you everything you need to do. We're not here to make anyone uncomfortable or feel weird or any of that stuff. It's just fun. So if we're okay with that, that's good. So where did you say you were from?
Dover, New Hampshire.
Dover. And what's your name?
Rick.
Rick, thank you. Rick here from Dover has just volunteered to play Ebenezer Scrooge. My little show. So Mr. Scrooge, if you'll just kind of have a seat right there for me and see if that's not going to fit at all. No, that's good. No, that's good. Can I pick him or what? Oh, yeah. So, Mr. Scrooge, you know, Ebenezer Scrooge has a favorite expression.
Humbug.
Could I finish the sentence? No, that's exactly right. That's what I do. So your signal is going to be, when I do this, you say,
Humbug.
right, say it like you mean it.
Humbug.
Yeah, come and yell at me. Okay. No, that's great. That's great. Now, there are lines you will be saying, and I will tell you what to say, unless you know the story.
No, you won't.
Oh, yes, I will.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll just see about that. Listen, if you want anything for Christmas this year, you're going to do what I tell you. So anyway, that's so, but I'm saying, this means bah humbug, or I will say Scrooge said, and tell you what to say. Got it? Okay, you can sit for a minute here. Now this thing is kind of recognizable. I think this is Bob Cratchit's. Yeah, give Bob a big round of applause. You know what? You can't afford a coat because Mr. Scrooge is your boss and he's not very nice. So Bob, thank you. That's good. Your office is going to be right over here in the corner. And like I said, I'll tell you what to say. No worries. I have a couple other little things I can do ahead of time here. Let's see. One. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This guy. Jacob Marley. That's what this is. And I see it. This is a crazy line. So you're going to just, I'm going to use your dad. And dad will speak English. Okay, you can stay right here for now. If you know the story at all. This is going to be great. You know, you're Jacob Marley. You're a dead guy. How are we doing? Are we almost full? How many? Right, 84. Where's the other 15 people? No, I'm great today. Now, one thing I got to do, because I'm already kind of losing my voice, is I'm going to grab a little water. I'm sorry. Right there. Bob, you will also be using this. Just remember, there's water in it. It's from, so don't do it. So I think we can kind of get started here with this right now, and then I'll. But this is what's going to happen: is I'm going to hand you a card and bring you up, and some of you will be able to stay right in your seats and just stand up and say the line I ask you to say. Got it? Got it. Okay, thank you. Now, there's one last thing we have to do. I'm going to remove. Isn't this a lovely hat?
Yes.
This hat came from London. My dear wife got it for me, and it's going to serve two purposes here today. One is it keeps my head warm, but it's also going to be back on that table. And if any of you are so inclined to make a donation to the library, you can drop the money in my hat back on that back table on your way out. Now, to be full disclosure, the library is going to get the money, half of it. And I am going to take the other half of the money. So I'm just saying that so that you understand, if you think I did a good job and you want me to take some money, you got to put twice as much in. So I'm just going to put this back here. And it's strictly a free will thing. Just do whatever you like. Just remember, my wife's got children, two of them. No, I'm kidding. That was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to open my little book. I may get lost here, so just bear with me. French teacher from the store. Keep these on. Sorry, they're my wrong ones. It's Friday. I did a lot wrong today. So let's see here. Oh my God, where was the kid I was going to say? Tiny Tim. I need to know who Tiny Tim's going to be. Actually, if you give the horse to your brother, you can be Tiny Tim. Would that work for you? Okay. And I won't need you till I need you, so just relax. Okay, let's get started. Would you please stand up, Mr. Scrooge? And the story goes like this. And if you, Mr. Marley, you follow along, you will learn if you, Mr. Marley. Yeah, no, wake up. You don't need to get up yet. I will call you up. But the name for now is Mr. Marley. And everyone, a lot of these people already know the story, but I want you to understand something. Scrooge is not the hero. Tiny Tim is not the hero. Who do you think the hero is? You. Yeah, right. No, thank you. You're my favorite. Jacob Marley is actually the hero of the story. Without his initial intervention, none of this would have happened. So when we meet Jacob Marley, we're going to be very happy to meet her. We're going to say, "Hey, Jacob Marley." Now, Scrooge, on the other hand, when we hear Scrooge say,
"Bah, humbug,"
what are we going to do? Boo. Yes, but we're going to boo respectfully and very kindly. But yes, he deserves a boo because he's a mean guy. All right, you ready? Ready. All right. The story begins thusly. Marley was dead to begin with. This must be distinctly understood if anything wonderful is to come of the story I'm about to relate. Did Scrooge know he was dead? Of course he did. He signed the register of his burial. But he never went to the trouble of painting over his erstwhile partner's name above the counting house door. And there it stood, Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge. Sometimes they called him Marley. It was all the same to him. He just said,
"Bah, humbug."
Boo. Excellent. That's perfect. Okay, good. Oh, a tight-fisted nose to the grindstone Scrooge, a clutching, screeching, scraping, covetous old sinner. Why, he always carried his own cold temperature around with him, and even the blind men's dogs knew at his approach to pull their owners into the storefronts, for he was so mean. He always carried his own cold temperature about with him. Did I say that already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say it again.
It's okay.
I already did.
I don't mind.
I love you. Thank you. Of all the good days of the year, on Christmas Eve, Scrooge was busy working in his office, and he kept his office door open so he could keep his eye on his clerk, Bob Cratchit. And Bob's little Scrooge's smile. I've been drinking. No, Scrooge's fire was small, but Bob's fire was so much smaller indeed, it seemed like no fire at all. And when Bob came out to get some more coal, Bob, would you step this way, please? Scrooge said, "Cratchit,
"Cratchit,
what do you think you're doing?"
what do you think you're doing?"
And poor Bob said, "Please, sir, I'd like some more."
Please, sir, I'd like some
Wait,
more.
wrong story. I get so confused. I'm sorry. Scrooge said, "Touch that coal scuttle,
"Touch that coal scuttle."
and you'll keep Christmas by he's not telling you to do, he's warning you. If you touch that coal scuttle, you'll keep Christmas by stop playing with your spider. You'll keep Christmas by losing your situation.
"You'll keep Christmas by losing your situation."
And poor Bob slinked back to his little take of an office, and he tried to warm his hands at the only candle that was his light, and being a man of no great imagination, he failed. It was very sad. Now, about that time, the door burst open, and in walked, oh, there he is. Could you please come this way? And in walked a young man. See, I'm being kind. A young man with robust cheeks from walking, and it was Scrooge's nephew Fred. And young Fred said, "Merry Christmas, Uncle."
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
And Scrooge said,
"Bah, humbug."
"Sam Bitter."
"Bah, humbug."
Yeah, there you go. Look, boom again. And young Fred said, "Christmas a humbug, you don't mean that."
Christmas a humbug, you don't mean that.
And Scrooge said, "I do.
"I do.
I think every idiot with Merry Christmas on his lips
I think every idiot with Christmas on his lips
should be boiled in his own pudding
should be boiled in his own pudding
and buried with a stake of holly through his heart."
and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Then he said,
Bah, humbug.
he didn't really say it, but we had to boo him because that was pretty mean. And Fred said, oh, I find Christmas to be a good time of year.
I find Christmas to be a good time.
A time when men and women seem by one consent
A time when men and women seem of one consent
to open their shut-up hearts freely
to open their shut-up hearts freely
and look at one another not as betters or lessers,
and look at one another not as betters or lessers,
but as fellow travelers
but as fellow travelers
on the train to the grave.
on the train to the grave.
It's not really funny. And then Scrooge once again just said,
Ah, humbug.
and then Fred said, Uncle, I invite you to Christmas dinner with us, as I do every year.
Uncle, I invite you to Christmas dinner with us as I do every year.
And Scrooge says, I'll see you in the fires below first.
I'd rather see you in the fires below
Which
first.
was a bad, no, that's not good. And he said, well, you're invited anyway.
Well, you're invited anyway.
You keep Christmas in, no, you said, you keep Christmas, I forget. And so young Fred said, Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Merry Christmas,
I
Uncle.
went back to his seat, but he kept the scarf because I'm not done with him yet, and he got thunderous applause. Well, right at that time, as Fred left, two business people came in through the door. Can I have you two, you in the black shirt, and you guys just stand up for me? Yeah, we're gender fluid here. The two businessmen, you can stay right there, I'll tell you what to say, came in, and the first one said, have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Marley or Mr. Scrooge?
Do I have the pleasure of addressing Mr. Marley or Mr. Scrooge?
Scrooge.
Ah, humbug.
No. No, I pointed. You say Scrooge.
Scrooge.
Marley's been dead these 7 years.
Marley's been dead these 7
And
years.
the other businessman said, but we're endeavoring to collect money for the poor. That's you. I'll help you. We're endeavoring
We are endeavoring
to collect funds
to collect funds
for the poor,
for the poor,
whose want
whose want
is so keenly felt
is so keenly felt
at this festive time of the year.
at this festive time of year.
Good. And Mr. Scrooge said, are there no prisons?
Are there no prisons?
Oh, yes, plenty of prisons.
Oh, yes, plenty of prisons.
And the workhouses, are they still in effect?
And the workhouses, are they still in effect?
And the other one said, yes, but we wish they were not.
Yes, but we wish they were not.
And Scrooge said, well, the poor must go there. Well, the poor must go there.
The poor must still be there.
Must go.
Oh, the poor must go there.
Yes, good. And then they both said in unison, but many would rather die.
Many would rather die.
And then Mr. Scrooge said, this is important. Mr. Scrooge, stop laughing. Mr. Scrooge said, well, if they'd like to die,
Well, if they'd like to die,
let them do it.
let them do it.
And decrease the surplus population.
And decrease the surplus population.
Say bye.
Ah, humbug.
And the two gentlemen left you to sit back down. Left in dismay, they'd never heard anything so terrible as all that. Well, just well, at that time, Mr. Cratchit stood up and said, closing time, sir.
Closing time, sir.
Scrooge said, you'll want all day tomorrow, I presume.
You'll want all day tomorrow, I presume.
So if it's quite convenient, sir.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
Scrooge said, no, it's not convenient.
It's not convenient.
And it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Taking a man's pocket every 25th of
Taking a
December.
man's pocket every 25th of December.
And Mr. Cratchit said, it's only once a year, sir.
It's only once a year, sir.
Scrooge said, well, take it then.
Well, take it then.
But be in all the earlier the next day.
We'll be in all the earlier the next day.
And Bob said, thank you, sir. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
And then he went and sat back down, but he kept the scarf because we're not done with him yet. You can go to your seat. Well, Mr. Scrooge took his usual old dinner at his melancholy tavern. I'm going to mess this up. On his way home that night, and as he got to his house, the door knocker. And so when he got to the house, the door knocker became not a knocker, but the face of Jacob Marley.
Hey.
He was going to attack him. And then it was a knocker again. And Scrooge simply said, disused bell hanging on the door. Can you ring this bell for me when I tell you to? And there was a disused bell. Scrooge was sitting down. He double locked the door behind him, not his usual custom. And he went into his chamber and he was having some cold gruel before bed. And suddenly the disused bell rang. And it stopped. And Scrooge said, humbug.
Boo.
Then every bell in the house started ringing. Ring the bell. Ring, ding, ring, 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 ring. These bells. Ring, ring, ding, ding, ding. And then they stopped abruptly, and Scrooge still just said,
humbug.
Boo.
and with that, he heard the sounds of chains and lock boxes dragging up from the basement cellar. And suddenly, through the door, in walked Jacob Marley.
Yay.
Now, Mr. Marley, as Mr. Marley walked in, Mr. Scrooge said, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
Mr. Marley said, "Ask me who I was."
Ask me who I was.
Who were you?
Who were
then?
you?
Yeah. In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
And no, I know his name. And Mr. Marley said, "Do you believe in? You don't believe in me, do you?"
You don't believe in me, do you?
Scrooge said, "I do not."
I do not.
Marley said, "Why do you doubt your senses?"
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them.
Because little things affect
You
them.
may be an undercooked piece of beef,
You may be an undercooked piece of beef,
a blot of cheese,
a blot of cheese,
an underdone potato.
an underdone potato.
Why, there's more of gravy than of grave to you.
Well, there's more gravy than of grave to you.
Good. And then the spirit let out a harrowing wail. Ah! Ooh. He said, "Do you believe in me or not?"
Believe in me or not?
Scrooge said, "I do, I do.
I do.
I do believe in ghosts."
I do believe in
Oh,
ghosts.
wait, that's L. Frank Baum. He's a hack. He's from Chattanooga. Don't listen to that. And then Mr. Scrooge said, "You are fettered in chains." Why?
You are feathered in chains. Why?
And this part's important. Marley said, holding up the chains, "These are the chains I forged in life.
These are the chains I forged in life.
I made them link by link
I made them link by link.
and yard by yard."
Yeah.
Is there, you are so good. Is their pattern so strange to you?
Is the pattern so strange to you?
Your chain was as long and heavy as this 7 Christmas Eves ago.
Your chain was as long as these 7 Christmas Eves ago.
You have pondered, you have labored on it since.
You have labored on it since.
Yours is a ponderous chain.
Yours is a ponderous chain.
And Mrs. Scrooge said, "But Jacob, whoop, did you drop my chains?" Good answer. And Mrs. Scrooge said,
But Jacob.
"Yeah, but Jacob." Oh, what? Do you know the rest? No. Okay. He said, "But Jacob, you are always a good man of business."
But Jacob, you are always a good man of business.
This is really important. And Mr. Marley said, "Business?
Business?
Mankind was my business.
Mankind was my business.
The common welfare,
The common welfare.
charity,
Charity.
forbearance were all my
Were
business.
all my business.
The dealings of our trade
Dealings of our
were
trade.
but a drop of water
But a drop of water.
in the comprehensive ocean of
Comprehensive
my
ocean of
business."
my business.
Nicely done. Actually, I did do it body And then Mr. Scrooge said, "Jacob, speak comfort to me.
Jacob, speak comfort to me.
I have none to give.
I'm not to give.
You will be visited by 3 spirits."
We'll be visited by 3 spirits.
Scrooge said, I think I'd rather not.
I think I'd rather not.
And Jacob Marley said, "Expect the first when the clock strikes 12.
Expect the first when the clock strikes 12.
And then he said, "Look to see me no further."
Look to see me no further.
Oh, you hit yourself in the head. And then he came back to chains and got his thunderous applause. Well, Mr. Scrooge fell asleep, and when he heard the clock striking 12, at the very last, would you hold this for me, please? At the very last, and there was, and Mr. Scrooge was asleep, and when the clock struck 12, he woke up and he saw a spirit with a bright light with the face of a face of an angel and also that of an old man. Not you, not you. And the Spirit slowly started to walk this way, and Spirit said, "Are you the Spirit whose coming was foretold to me?"
Are you the Spirit that's coming foretold to me?
I am.
I am.
And he says, "Well, who are you?"
Well, who are you?
And the Spirit said, "I am the Spirit of Christmas past."
I am the spirit of Christmas past.
And Scrooge said, "Long past?"
Long past?
And the Spirit said, "Your past."
Your past.
And she held out her arm and said, touch the other arm. Said, "There, but no."
I only have two. I am.
She held out her arm.
Oh.
And Mr. Scrooge and said, "Touch my sleeve,
Touch my
and you
sleeve,
shall be upheld in more than this."
and you shall be upheld in more than
And
this.
suddenly they were out the window over the rooftops of London and found themselves in a snow-covered, brightly lit crossroads, and where they saw, "Where's my pony kids? Pony kids, come up here. I need pony kids. Pony kids, pony kids."
People with ponies.
Even for Ford today. So, okay, Mr. Scrooge, when he got here, he said, "Oh, look."
Oh, look.
And he saw these pony kids. You're going to go back and forth, right? You guys go back and forth, ride your pony back and forth. Here, ride your pony, follow that kid. Yeah. And then come back. And Mr. You can move as much as you're comfortable. You can move. And Mr. Scrooge said, "Look, it's my school chums."
Look, it's my school chum.
Why, there's Dick Wilkins. Hello, Dick.
Hello, Dick.
And look, it's Johnny Rivers.
And hey, Johnny Rivers.
And then the Spirit said, "They are but shadows
Those are but shadows.
and have no consciousness of us."
And have no consciousness of us.
And at that point, all three pony people came over here and they were looking at each other. They stopped riding and they started saying bye-bye to each other. Say bye-bye. And say Merry Christmas. And say see you in Barbados. And then they gave me back the horses and they galloping home to thunderous applause. Oh, thank you. Yes, you may. Thank you. I almost forgot. Almost. I totally forgot. And then the Spirit noticed something on Scrooge's cheek and said, "What's wrong?"
What's wrong?
And he said, "Oh, nothing."
Oh, nothing.
And she said, "Something, I think."
I see
Oh,
a tear on
I'm
your
jumping the
face.
gun. I'm jumping the gun. Oh, she says, "I see one child left behind at the school,
I see one child left behind at the school.
forgotten and alone for the holidays."
Forgotten and alone for the holidays.
And then Scrooge cried like a little girl.
Oh.
And then the Spirit waved her lantern, and suddenly, they were in a warehouse. And the Spirit said, "Do you know this place?"
Do you know this place?
And you're covered with children. Here, stand up, my friend, stand up. And Scrooge said, "No, I was apprenticed here."
No, I was apprenticed here.
Look, there's old Fezziwig.
No, I was a presence here.
Yeah, look, and then he said, "Look, there's old Fezziwig."
Look, there's old Featherwig.
Fezziwig waved his hand and said, "Clear away, boys.
Clear away, boys.
It's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
No more work tonight."
No more work tonight.
And before you could say Jack Robinson, the warehouse, the windows were shuttered. The warehouse was transformed into a great joyous party with lights and negus and turkeys and dancing. The fiddler, Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast substantial smile came in, and then the butcher came in, and the baker came in, and the candlestick maker came in, and suddenly everyone at Fezziwig's was dancing around the Christmas party. Dance around, dance around. Hey! And even Scrooge was starting to remember, so he looked at his younger self and remembered that and then at 11 o'clock it all stopped, and and everyone said, "Thank you, Mr. Fezziwig.
Thank you, Mr. Fezziwig.
Merry Christmas." And then we love you. And Mr. Fezziwig said, "You're welcome, my dears."
You're welcome, my dears.
He said, take tomorrow off.
Take tomorrow off.
And then he said, "Take the whole rest of the week off."
Take the whole rest of the week off.
And everyone was cheering, "Yay!" Here's a $100 bill for every one so great
Is that so great
that he deserved such praise?
that he deserves such
And
praise?
Scrooge said, it isn't that spirit.
It isn't that spirit.
He had the power to render us happy or unhappy.
He had the power to make some of us
To
happy,
render, I use the word, to render us.
to render us happy or unhappy.
The happiness he gave
The happiness he gave
was just as great
was just as great
as though it cost a fortune.
as though it cost a fortune.
And that's when the Spirit noticed a little tear in his eye and said, what's wrong?
What's wrong?
He said, oh, nothing.
Nothing.
And she said, something I think.
Something I
This is
think.
like the reversal of gender.
Yeah.
Because men never say what they mean. Yeah. Or whatever. And then Mr. Spirit, Mr. Scrooge said, I just wish I could have a word with my own clerk. That's all.
I just wish I could have a word with my own
And
clerk.
he started crying at the school.
Oh.
The Spirit said one more thing.
One more
She
thing.
held her lantern up, and suddenly Scrooge saw his younger self. Just stand up, not one.
Over there.
His younger self was talking to young Belle. You're still a teenager. And Belle was come out where they could see this. There you go. And Belle was quietly crying. She was crying. He's just smiling. Yeah, you're crying. and she says, "Our promise was an old one.
Our promise was an old one.
I release you with a full heart."
I release you with a full heart.
She said, you fear the world too much.
You fear the world too much.
He said, my feelings haven't changed, Belle.
My feelings haven't changed, Belle.
She said, oh yes, we worship a golden idol now. Here's that too. She just dumped you. And the Spirit said, and Scrooge said, Spirit, take me away.
Spirit, take me away.
And the Spirit said, these are but shadows of the things that have been.
These are but shadows of the things that have been.
That they are what they are.
What they are. What they are.
That
They are
they
what
are.
they are. I got
You
it.
should have been the Spirit. That they are what they are.
That they are what they are.
Do not blame me.
Do not blame me.
Scrooge, you know what to do. Cry like a little girl. And then young Scrooge and young Belle made out. And then the Spirit got thunderous applause and went back to. And Mr. Scrooge fell instantly to sleep. You're asleep, Scrooge. You're asleep now. And then suddenly he awoke in the middle of a prodigious snore.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Here it goes.
Then suddenly, would you stand up, please, for me? You should come up with me. Can you take off your big jacket? Would you watch his jacket for me? Is this your sister? Oh, your daughter. Mine is. And suddenly there was a light. There was a light shining through the chamber door, and Scrooge got up. And I'm going to swap picture and opened the door, and there, on top of a huge mound of roast geese and boiled meats and pears and figs and mince pies and all that stuff, sat a giant of a spirit in a green cloak, and the Spirit said, "Come in, man.
Come in, man.
Come in and know me better.
Come in and know me better.
I am the Spirit of Christmas present.
I am the spirit of Christmas present.
Have you never seen the like of me before?"
Have you never seen the like of me before?
And Mr. Scrooge said, "Nope."
Nope.
And so the Spirit of Christmas present stepped in a little bit and held out his robe and said, "Touch my robe."
Touch my
And
robe.
boom, there they were out on Christmas morning, and all the people in London were being very happy and pleasant with each other, and they're all saying, "Oh, Merry Christmas, oh, Merry Christmas," to their neighbors, "Oh, Merry Christmas."
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
And they went by,
Merry
Mr.
Christmas.
Scrooge's usual place of, no, that's not where they went. Does anyone know where they went? Did we go to Cratchit House? Let's see. Yeah. And so then, and the Spirit was splashing kindness from his horn of plenty there, and everywhere he went. Yeah, that looks a little weird. Don't do that. And then they found themselves at the Cratchit House. Bob. Okay, let's see. And now where's Mrs. Cratchit? Is there a Mrs. Cratchit? Do you already have a Mrs. Cratchit right over there? Oh, okay, good. Okay, you can stay right there and sit down. Put this on your pumpkin head. Okay, good. And then, thank you. Are you okay with this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. And then, where's my little Tiny Tim? Tiny Tim. Okay, come on up here, Tiny Tim. Now, we're all going to remember that Tiny Tim has a little crutch in his limb. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to go stand by your dad right now. That's your new dad. So Mrs. Cratchit was festooned in ribbons, which were festive and cheap, and she was working on the Christmas dinner, and all the little Cratchit children were very anxious and saying, "Oh, pudding, Christmas Day, pudding." You're all and with that, suddenly Bob came in from church. Bob came in carrying Tiny Tim upon his shoulder. No, you don't have to. Don't. I don't want to get nervous. I came in with Tiny Tim, and Mrs. Cratchit said, "You can stay right here." Mrs. Cratchit said, "How was Tim in church today?"
How's Tim at church today?
"As good as gold and better."
As good as gold and better.
Why, he said
He
would like people in the church to see him
he would like people in the church to see him
and his little invisible crutch.
and his little invisible crutch,
So that they would be reminded
of
of he who made blind men see
he who made blind men
and
see
lame beggars walk.
and lame beggars walk.
And of course, he meant Jesus at Christmas time. And everyone, So then they sat down, and you can kind of just stay right there. And all the Cratchits started. Mrs. Cratchit brought out the goose, which was meager, but to them a feast. And all the Cratchit children were going, "Oh, yeah, Christmas feast! Yay, Christmas feast!" When the feast was done, they were all stuffed to their eyes with and she brought out the pudding, which was perfection. And everyone ate the pudding, yay! And then at the end of the meal, when all the little Cratchits were stuffed to their eyebrows with sage and stuffing, Bob passed around the cups. I remember the Florida and it passed around. Everyone had their cup. And Bob said, "To the founder of our feast, Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge."
Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge.
And Mrs. Cratchit said, "Founder of the feast indeed."
Founder of the feast indeed.
Yeah, why you'd have to. Yeah, he's an ornery old skit. Just yell at him like you're at home. He's a.
Oh my goodness! What do you mean? That was not nice.
She's awesome. And then Mr. Scrooge said, "My dear, the children.
My dear, the children,
It's Christmas."
it's Christmas.
And she said, "Well, it should be Christmas to toast an ornery old skinflint." Just do some more yelling. Yeah.
I told you not to bring that.
Yeah. And then Bob said once again, "It's Christmas Day."
It's Christmas
And
Day.
she said, "Well, I'll drink his health for the day's sake."
I'll drink
His health
his health
for the
to the
day's sake.
to the day.
And then she said, "To Mr. Scrooge."
To Mr. Scrooge.
And all the little Cratchits had their cups, and they said, "To Mr. Scrooge."
Mr. Scrooge.
And then they all took a sip, except for you. Took that from the water. And they all took a sip out of their cups, and then all the Cratchit children went because it left such a horrible taste in their mouth. But the mention of Scrooge's name was the only shadow on their day. And they spent the rest of the day toasting and cheering and eating chestnuts and dancing and having a great time. And listen, they were not a handsome family. And not you. Their clothes were ratty and their shoes were not waterproof, but they were happy, pleased with one another and contented with their times. And then I got the cup back because I needed a little sip. And then And then you can sit down, Bob. I'm not quite done with you guys. Keep your hat if you don't mind. And darling, do you want to go back and sit over there with your family, or do you want to stay up here to be tiny? Okay, you can sit right there. This is another new dad. You got a lot of new dads. At that time, Mr. Scrooge said, "Spirit, tell me,
Spirit, tell me,
will the boy live?"
will the boy live?
And the Spirit said, "I see an empty chair
I see an empty chair
and a crutch without an owner.
and a crutch without an owner.
If these courses are not changed,
If these courses are not
the
changed,
boy will die."
the boy will die.
Mr. Scrooge said, "Say it ain't so, Spirit."
Say it ain't so, Spirit.
And the Spirit said, "Well, if he'd like to die, let him do it.
Well, if he'd like to die, then he better
And
do it
decrease the surplus population."
and decrease the surplus population.
He laughed. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh,
And Scrooge, you know what he did? Cried like a little girl to hear, because he heard his own words used against him. And with that, the Spirit waved. I gotta check my notes here a little bit. Oh yeah, the Spirit waved his robe, and suddenly they were at young Fred's house, young Fred's party. And stand up, Fred, and everyone's laughing at Fred's Christmas party. Yeah. And Fred said, and he called Christmas a humbug.
He called Christmas a humbug.
Every laugh. He meant it.
And he meant it.
He said, he carries his own offenses with him. I shan't be mad at him at all.
Carries his own offenses with him.
You can paraphrase. That's fine. So, and with that, everyone went back to having fun at the party, and they were playing a guessing game. And Fred said, "I'm thinking of an animal,
Thinking of an animal.
very vicious,
Very vicious.
lives in London,
Lives in London.
never butchered."
Never butchered.
And Fred's wife said, "I know.
I know.
It's your Uncle Scrooge."
What's your uncle?
And they all laughed. Ah! And then sit back
That's
down,
me.
keep the scarf, and then get some more applause. He did a great job. And then the spirit waved his little robe again politely. And suddenly they were traveling around the globe, and everywhere they went, those people knew of this spirit, and the sailors out at sea and the miners below the bowels of the earth all paused to celebrate his coming. And suddenly they were back. Where are my little clip notes here? Yeah. And suddenly, would you hold this, please, with the legs sticking out of the like that? Yeah, it's good. And suddenly, you're Tiny Tim, right? Would you like to help me? Can you come up here for a minute? You don't want to? Can you come up for a minute, little elf on the shelf? And I need one more kid who wants to come up here. Okay, come here. First hand. So, okay, one of you, you're going to be the boy. You don't care, do you? Yeah. And you're going to be the girl because you're in a little frilly dress. Yeah. And now you kids are kind of hiding under, you're not actually in his robe, but you're just standing here like this, just like that. And you're just hiding. And the Spirit says, "My time grows short. Quick."
My time grows short. Quick.
And then Scrooge said, "Spirits' lives are very short indeed."
Spirit's lives are very short
And
indeed.
then he said, "That protruding from your robe, is that a claw or a foot?"
That protruding from your robe, is it a claw or a foot?
"It may as well be a claw,
It may as well be a
for all the flesh that is upon it."
for all the flesh that is upon
And
it.
then he threw open his robe, and I'll take the chicken. And beneath his robes were two children, Wolfish and Ragged, which was not their names. So you guys, you're like sick and you're poor and you're hungry. So bend over like you're old. You just look so sad. And Mrs. Scrooge says, "Oh my,
Oh my.
are they yours?"
Are they yours?
The Spirit says, "They are man's.
They are men.
This boy is ignorance.
This boy is ignorant,
This girl is want.
and this girl is want.
Beware them both.
Beware them both.
But most of all, beware this boy.
But most of all, beware this boy.
For on his brow I see written that which is doom. For on his brow.
For on his brow I see written that which is due.
Oh, it's very. And then Mr. Scrooge said, "Have they no recourse, no refuge?"
Have they no recourse, no refuge?
The Spirit said, "Are there no prisons?
Are there no prisons?
No workhouses?"
No workhouses?
Oh, ha, 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 ha.
Ah.
Yeah. And Scrooge, start crying, buddy. You're crying. Okay. And then the kids went back to their seats to thunderous applause. And the Spirit went back, after that thunderous applause. And suddenly Mr. Scrooge found his. Oh, no, this is good. Okay, cool. I almost forgot something. Figure, go figure. Scrooge said, "Can you help me with this part? Scrooge found himself on a dark, deserted street, and walking up towards him was a phantom. Now slow down, Louie. You look great. Wait, yeah, okay, I'm stepping on. Wait, don't move. Yeah, I got it. Dress properly. There you go. Okay. So point with this hand with your baby little finger. Yeah, there you go. And the spirit said, and Mr. Scrooge saw the spirit approaching through the fog, and he said, I am in the presence of Christmas yet to come.
I am in the presence of Christmas yet to come.
I fear you, spirit of the future.
I fear you,
Yeah.
spirit of the future,
More than any other spirit.
more than any other
But
spirit.
as I hope to live to be a better man,
But as I hope to live to be a better man,
I will follow and learn your lessons.
I will follow and learn your lessons.
I'm really making that more. I have no idea what he said. And then the spirit just pointed some more. And suddenly they found themselves, and you're just going to stand right here together. And they suddenly found themselves at the Scrooge's normal corner of business, but he wasn't there. And he saw two businessmen. I'll just use the same businessmen. Are they still here? Can you guys stand up? And they were talking and laughing, and the one said, I only know he died last night.
I only know he died last night.
And the other one said, well, what has he done with his money?
Well, what has he done with his money?
And this was left it to the company, I suppose.
Left it to the company, I suppose.
Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha. And then the other one said, well, we should make up a party and go to the funeral.
We should make up a party and go to the funeral.
And the first one said, well, I'll go to the funeral,
I'll go to the funeral,
but I must be fed.
but I must be fed.
Ah ha ha. And then they sat down and got food. And then, this is good. This is good. Yeah, you okay? Just try not to turn my thing. You're good. There you go. Thank you. And so, actually, and then they came in to the pawn shop. And there was old Joe, the pawnbroker. And the laundress came in with a big bundle of things and said, here, Joe. And Joe said, what's this, bed curtains?
What's this, bed curtains?
And she said, yeah, and his blankets.
Yeah, it's blankets.
If he'd wanted to keep his things,
He's gonna keep his things.
he should have been nicer in his life.
Nicer in his life.
The wicked old screw.
Scrooge.
And everybody laughed. And then she said, now look at that shirt. There's not a button missing. They would have wasted it if it weren't for me. And old Joe said, what do you mean wasted it?
What do you mean wasted it?
They were going to bury him in it. And then, thank you very much. And then they got thunderous applause. And then the spirit waved her bony little finger, yeah. And suddenly they found themselves in a darkened chamber, and there was a bed with no curtains, and on that bed, underneath an awful shawl, lay this figure, this body of this man who had died, uncared for, unwept for, unkept. And the spirit was pointing at the body on the bed, and Scrooge said, I understand.
I understand.
The fate of this poor soul might be my own.
The fate of this poor soul might be my own.
But show me some tenderness connected with a death,
But show me some tenderness connected with the death,
or this awful scene
or this awful scene,
will be forever present to me.
or this terrible scene will be forever present to me.
Excellent. And then the spirit pointed over. Okay. And so, and Tim, you're not in this part right here. And then Mrs. Cratchit, they suddenly left the Cratchit's house. And Mrs. Cratchit was trying to sew, and she was crying a little bit. And she said, the color hurts my eyes.
Oh, the color hurts my eyes.
Your father's somewhat late today.
Your father's somewhat late today.
I've seen him walk very quickly with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders.
I see him
Walk slow, but
Walk
walk very
slow.
quickly.
more quickly with
tiny fiddle clogs.
tiny pillows.
And then the little Cratchit children all said, and so have I,
And so have I.
and so have I,
And so have I.
and so have I,
So have I.
and so have I.
And so have I.
So there was a lot of Cratchit children. And at that time, Bob came in, and he was trying to be cheerful, but he just couldn't muster it. And he said, I'm sorry I'm late, my dears.
I'm sorry I'm late, my dears.
I went by the place where he will lie.
I went by the place where he will lie.
You should see it. It's a very green place.
You should see it. It's a very green place.
And we shall see it every Sunday when we walk there.
And we shall see it every Sunday when we walk there.
And he started crying some more. He said, oh, my little child.
Oh, my little
My
child.
little child.
My little child.
My little child.
My little child.
It's not really funny. Stop. And then they faded out. And now I can take your scarf. Take a big hand for Mrs. Okay, well, then Bob, Mr. Scrooge said, I actually, you know what, this part's important, so I'm gonna find it. Are you a reader there?
Sure.
Did you read this there? So here, okay, this is gonna be worth it, I promise you.
Okay.
Okay, so you were crying about the Cratchits, and then you're gonna read, and then the Spirit pointed over that way, and they found themselves in a cemetery. Yeah, no, you can't see any, this is a big secret. Can you hold this for me, please? Don't show anybody yet. It's a surprise. Okay. So, they were in a cemetery, and Mr. Scrooge said,
Spirit, are these the shadows of the things that will be? Or are they shadows of the things that may be only?
and the Spirit pointed at the gravestone again, and then kept reading.
Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which they must lead. But if the course be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me.
And the Spirit appointed some more, and then Mr. Scrooge came over to the gravestone, although he was very upset about it. And then suddenly he saw it, and now you can hold the stone so everyone can see it, face turn to them. Yeah. And it was his own tombstone, Ebenezer Scrooge! Yay!
No, Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year I will live in the past, present, and future. Tell me I may.
Oh, there's another page. Tell me I may sponge away the writing on that stone.
Tell me I may sponge away the writing on that
And the
stone.
Spirit just kept pointing, and Bob and Scrooge was pleading with the Spirit, please,
Please, Spirit.
And then the Spirit dwindled down and became a bedpost and got thunderous applause. And the bedpost was his own, and the room was his own, and the bed curtains were still there, and the best and happiest of all the time before him was his own to make amends with. And he jumped up from bed, he ran to the window and threw up the sash. That's Clement Moore. I'm sorry. And he saw a young boy running by. I need some kid to run by. You want to be the kid running by? Yeah, oh, well, there's a kid with their hand up. Okay, it's okay. Come on up here, kid. Yeah. And he saw a young boy running by outside in the street. And Mr. Scrooge said, boy.
Boy.
And the boy stopped and said, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to cheat you out a little bit, just like this. And Scrooge said, oh, what a remarkable boy.
What a remarkable boy.
Say, what day is today, boy?
What day is today, boy?
And the little boy said, why, it's Christmas Day.
Why, it's Christmas Day.
You moron. No. It's a nice little boy. That little boy did not say that part. That was me. I'm sorry. And he said, oh, Christmas Day, remarkable.
Oh, Christmas Day, remarkable.
The Spirits did it all in one
The
night.
Spirits did it all in one night.
Say, do you know the butcher on the next street?
Do you know the butcher on the next street?
The little boy said, I should think I do. He said, "Oh, wonderful." He said, "Go and
wonderful.
fetch." Oh, and he said, "Is the prize turkey still hanging in the window?"
Is that prize turkey still hanging in the window?
And the little boy said, "What? The one as big as me?"
What, the one as big as me?
He said, "Oh, yes, go buy it.
Oh, yes, go buy it.
Bring the butcher,
Bring the butcher,
and I'll give him the address of Bob Cratchit in Camden Town."
and I'll give him the address of Bob Cratchit in Camden
He
Town.
said, "If you're back in 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown."
And if you're back in 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown.
And the boy said, "Thank you, sir." And he ran off like a shot. He got thunder. Just go back to your feet. Got thunderous applause. Mr. Scrooge gave the butcher the address and paid for the carriage because it was such a big turkey. It was as big as Tiny Tim, wasn't it? Yeah, it was that big. And he sent him on his way. And then he came out and he headed to young Fred's house. And he knew what his mission was, although he failed to do it. But he was being very happy and saying Happy Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Yeah.
Christmas.
And he came over to Fred, where are you? And then Scrooge knocked on Fred's door. And Fred came to the door and said, "Uncle Scrooge."
Uncle Scrooge.
And Scrooge said, "Oh, dear Fred,
Oh, dear Fred.
can you forgive me for being a doddering old fool
Can you forgive me for being a tiring old fool?
who doesn't have the eyes to see your ears?" Never mind.
Who doesn't have the eyes to see your ears to hear?
And he said, "Could I still come in to dinner?"
Can I still come into dinner?
"Of course you may, Uncle Scrooge.
Of course you may. Uncle
We're so tickled to see you." And they started shaking hands. And they shook hands so hard. I'm just going to take the scarf back. You don't have to come over here. And Scrooge, thank you. And a big hand for young Fred. And Scrooge went in and they had a wonderful time. And they sang games and played. They sang songs and played games and had a wonderful Christmas night. The next day, Scrooge got to the office early because he wanted to catch Bob Cratchit coming in late. And he did. He can sit back down for a minute there.
I think we'd like to see Scrooge dance.
What?
I said, I think we'd like to see Scrooge dance.
Would you? That's another club act. Where's Christmas present? He was dancing pretty good. No, all right. So then Cratchit, who was 15 minutes behind his time, came running in to his office. To his office, and he sat down and tried to overtake 9 o'clock by working furiously like this. And Mrs. Scrooge said, "Cratchit,
Cratchit?
what do you mean coming in here this time of day?"
What do you mean coming in here this time of day?
Bob said, "I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
We were making rather merry yestereve."
We were making very merry
Rather
yesterday.
merry yestereve.
Yesterday.
Yeah. I have a wicked hangover.
I have a wicked hangover.
That's not what he thinks. I'm embellishing. And Mr. Scrooge said, "Well, I won't stand for this behavior any longer.
Well, I won't stand for this behavior any longer.
Therefore,
Therefore,
I'm about to
I'm about to
raise your salary."
raise your salary.
And Bob said, "What?"
What?
And he said, "I will, Bob.
I will,
A
Bob.
Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
A merrier Christmas than I've given you in many a
And
year.
a merrier Christmas than I've given you in many
And
years.
I will endeavor to take care of your family.
And I will endeavor to take care of your family.
Now go buy a second coal scuttle, Bob."
And go buy a second coal scuttle, Bob.
And Bob says, "Thank you, sir. I will, sir. Thank you."
Thank you, sir. I will, sir.
He gave me back the scarf and got a big round of thunderous applause. And Scrooge, now you can stand up, please. Scrooge was better than his word. Come here, Tiny Tim. And as for Tiny Tim, who did not die, Scrooge became a second father, and he became as good a friend as any man in the good old city had ever been. And it often was said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed that knowledge. And let that be said to all of us and all of us. And how's this go? You're mouthing the words. You know the story. You know the story. Here, Tim, come over and stand in front of me, my friend. And Scrooge became as good a man as anyone in the girls had ever seen, and he kept Christmas as well. And then, in the words, don't make me laugh. In the words of Tiny Tim, now can you say, "God bless us, everyone"?
God bless us, everyone.
Thank you so much for bearing with me. I'm sorry about all the business that I just couldn't remember. But I want to thank all of my players. Thank you very much. If you feel like being charitable, throw a little dough in my hat. Otherwise, go out there and just have the best holidays ever. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you. That was great. Too small. Oh, wait. Here, watch this. Here, give me 5. Give me 5. Oh, here's your change. Okay. Brilliant.
Did you get that? He said